Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Kevin and this is the Red Pilling channel. So I want to talk a little bit about this video, this interview by Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson had a bit one of his biggest interviews that he's ever had, especially since leaving Fox News and of his show ever. And it definitely did not come without pretty big controversy among people on the conservative side. And so I'm going to give my thoughts on about what I think on that, and I've kind of been looking at it from both sides, and just going to give my thoughts. So first, I'm going to talk about who Tucker Carlson is. So Tucker Carlson it's been a long time journalist for 30 years, maybe since the 80s. He's been around, maybe, yeah, 80s. I mean, he definitely during the Reagan, even since the Reagan, and so he's been around since before I was born, obviously, and so, and most recently he got most famous through his time serving on the staff of Fox News as a night host, being on the prime time, and for the longest time became the most popular host, most popular show on Fox News and probably the whole media. People love Tucker. And I believe Tucker's the most traditional journalist we have left. And so anyway, so that's a little about Tucker. He was also with Fox News. He got fired 2 years ago now, I believe, and yeah, 2 years ago, and has now been doing his podcast. He has a podcast, obviously, on YouTube. He has Spotify on the Spotify channel to listen to his podcast, and he also has his own website. So to have his videos, I think he's on Rumble too. So there's multiple ways you can listen to him if you want to. But anyway, I love his values. Tucker, I think, is a big part of why Trump won, and is probably the largest voice, probably behind Charlie Kirk, in regards to what America First is. And I believe since that terrible, horrible assassination of Charlie Kirk, I believe no one can replace Charlie Kirk, but Tucker might be the closest you probably can get to Kirk in regards to the America First messaging that he believes. And him and Charlie were really close. So, and Charlie faced a lot of backlash for platforming him as well. So obviously I always loved Tucker, but also knowing that Charlie was really close with Tucker, it also gives me more comfort that I'm probably on the right track on supporting Tucker as well. I generally trusted Charlie in regards to who he trusted as well, just because of how skeptical he was and stuff. So there's that. So that's a little bit on Tucker Carlson. I believe anywhere from the truth about COVID and censorship and the issue of foreign policy like war and stuff. He's pushed us for the Republican Party very to the right, the base on to the right on that issue. I'd say he's probably to the right of Trump when it comes to foreign policy, which is what I think people don't understand about him sometimes. So, and I do believe his messaging will be the future of going forward after Trump. So I guess get used to it for those who don't like him. So anyway, so that's a little about Tucker. Now, Nick Fuentes. This guy, he's definitely, again, a very controversial guy. He's been banned everywhere. He also was on the no-flight list temporarily because he was seen as a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi, they considered him. And he's kind of what you would call a groyper. And a groyper is what you would call someone who is kind of considered a far-right person. They're definitely young. Generally 18 to 24 is where the groyper movement is coming from. Charlie, actually, a lot of Charlie Kirk followers also are groypers, believe it or not. A lot of them like Charlie Kirk's, Nick Fuentes as well, which is an odd combination because Charlie and Fuentes did not get along on things. So while Nick Fuentes did say a good message to him when he was killed, I do respect that about him, but they definitely had disagreements. But he also calls himself a white nationalist, which is why he's kind of white supremacist. Now, here's my thing on white nationalism. I'm obviously Hispanic, and I'm obviously one of the minorities to say I don't think white nationalism is a bad thing. Not in itself. I think you can be proud of who you are, and you can be nationalist in the sense of protecting your values and your sovereignty and your culture identity. And obviously for a long time the left has been told that whiteness is bad, and I don't believe that. I don't. Obviously since the 40s, because of World War II, we've been told whites should feel bad for who they are, and Fuentes believes the opposite. And I definitely think he says a lot of extreme things, but I wonder if he does it more as a way to counter against what the mainstream says. And the reason he's gotten more popular is because a lot of the things that he said would happen kind of happened, and he's getting respect for it. And I think people like him on the right because he was saying things that were unpopular to say at the time, and he wasn't afraid to say it. So a guy that speaks his mind. Groypers also tend to advocate for Christendom. A lot of them are Catholic nationalists. They often are really against multiculturalism and against globalism or neoliberalism, which I agree with. I think globalism and neoliberalism are very destructive to this country. And as I said in my last video about Zoran Mamdani, I believe those values, ideologies, are the thing that's paving the road for radicals like Mamdani. It's scary. And I blame a lot of the conservatives because a lot of them embrace this globalization. They're not America first. A lot of them. So they're also strong against anti-LGBT, so very against the LGBT promotions and the whole rhetoric about it. They're really more pro-traditional values on Western Christian values. I think they call it Christendom, and they basically are trying to push that onto society as well. So, and yeah, multiculturalism, yeah, I think that is destructive because we're seeing that in Europe right now. People can't get along in Europe. You have third worlds flooding the countries over there, and flooding these countries, and they're trying to change their values, and it's not even the West anymore. So it's not about making white, but I believe it's more about protecting our culture. And I feel like whites, it's like, I don't know, I feel like whites are not allowed to have a culture. You know what I mean? They call that colonialism when it's for white people, and it's silly. And you can't multiculturalize with everyone when you can't get along. So without any assimilation, it's a disaster. So they're also known for being more anti-Israel. They definitely would be considered the anti-Semitic right to people, and they tend to think that there's too much Jewish influence in this country in the negative way, and they believe that they don't believe Israel's our greatest ally, and they don't believe Israel's an ally at all. They think we're just a proxy state by Israel. That's what they believe. Then Fuentes is the leader of that and promotes that. He believes that. And they kind of seem to, and the reason they talk about Israel is because they don't feel like America can be free, America first truly, until we withdraw our control from Israel. So, and about Israel, here's the thing. There's things that I don't like with our relationship with Israel. I do think it's become very toxic, and as a conservative, I do believe that whoever we elect are going to have to healthily distance themselves if we want to win, because we can't make Israel the first issue. And while Israel can be maybe a potential decent ally for us, we can't treat them like the special child anymore. And I feel like that's what Republicans do by their greatest ally quote. And If you don't think that way, they tend to want to remove you from the movement, like they are trying to do with Tucker as well, which is not anti-Semitic, but has been critical of the policies that we've been handling because of it, and that's why they want to cancel him too. So that's that. So again, so that's a little bit of facts about both sides. Tucker Carlson, though, again, he's been getting backlash because he platformed him, and they don't like it. The people who are against it aren't happy because they don't believe Tucker pushed back on the stuff that he was saying. And I can agree, Tucker could have pushed back on a few things he said, because that was pretty radical. Very radical. But since he was banned from everywhere, I believe Tucker was trying to let him finally give his beliefs of what he believed. And when you actually heard him speak, there was a lot of things he was right on too. And I feel like, well, we agree on some of that stuff, some of the stuff. And it's like, wait, so what was everyone freaking out about? Okay. And it's like, here's the thing. My focus is on beating the left right now. That's my biggest concern in this country right now is left-wing violence in this country. And my biggest concern is more Mamdani's fake populists trying to prey on the Republicans that are distracted by everything else than these communists that are trying to prey on ignorant people. That's my focus right now. Because our focus, I feel, has been distracted by Nick Fuentes, which really doesn't have to have influence if people just wouldn't pay attention to him. But it's funny, the ones who hate him are the ones giving him attention, and the ones trying to cancel him are making people move to him even more by doing that. So it's backfiring. So again, Tucker Carlson, I felt while he could have pushed back more, I do believe it wasn't really like a soft interview as much people think. And I feel like the people who listen to him, they either push clickbait so you see what they want you to see, because they're influencers, and they're influencers. They're likely, a lot of them are bots, and they also won't show you the parts he did say that were true. And here's the thing. I know who these people are who are pushing this. And no, it's not those $7,000 people who were influenced by Israel for doing this. It's the same campaigners, because they're either bots or they're people who are probably campaign strategists who worked for campaigns. These are likely the type of influence they are. Because I remember them, they tried to destroy Donald Trump. Now they're trying to grift off of Trump. But they never supported Trump's policies, just like a lot of these politicians. They're the Bush wing of the party that doesn't exist anymore. That either are voting Democrat, partisan Dems now, and they're not MAGA. They never have been. And they destroyed Ron DeSantis' career. Online we call them DeSimps. Because DeSantis did great as a governor on the cultural aspect, but a lot of the MAGA crowd, the true MAGA crowd, I believe, left him because he ran when Trump was having the lawfare, and people felt DeSantis betrayed. But the Bush wing of the party that tried to pretend they're MAGA when they weren't, wanted him to run. Now, they wanted him to run because they thought Trump couldn't win at first. And they were really critical of Trump's stances on non-intervention policy. They were critical on his views on immigration. They were against his views on tariffs. I mean, they were anti-Trump value. They were even anti a lot of the conservative values. They thought, some of them were kind of sympathetic towards the trans stuff. So the people aren't conservative. For them, conservative means what they believe conservatism is funding Ukraine, believing Israel's our greatest ally. So you have to believe that, and you have to send money to them and support everything they do. You have to be involved in it. And they're anti-tariff, so they're anti-Trump's policies to bring America first, manufacturing back. And they're actually against actual conservative values. So they're not America first. And I know that because I recognize these people. And now they're going after Tucker. And I think my worry for them is they're going to try to force Vance to embrace them. Because they're trying to, since people think Vance is going to be the candidate in 2028, which I believe is MAGA as of now, they're going to try to manipulate him to basically reject the Groypers, who I believe, if you really think about it, they're wrong on things, but they really actually are more conservative because they believe in the conservative values and actually conserving our culture, while it seems the establishment Republicans don't actually care about our culture like they claim to be. So, and they're the ones now that want to cancel Tucker because Tucker is platforming people that they don't like. So that's a problem. And these were the people that said, we believe in free speech. No, they don't. No, they don't. They're showing that they don't believe in free speech. And I believe that canceling Tucker does not do this, or Fuentes doesn't do anything. Well, two things. I love Tucker. Canceling him is only going to make him more powerful. I mean, he's right now on Spotify, the third most popular political commentator out there right now. And he's only rising because of this. In fact, he's getting more popular because of people trying to cancel him now. And Fuentes, some say, he may be politically toxic, and the way he does things turn people off. He definitely attacks everybody. He even attacks Tucker. He attacks everybody. I think that's more theater he's doing to try to look cool. But he's toxic. I guess I understand why people don't want to debate him, because they don't see him as sincere, and he's really not. Because he wants to be the one to say, I'm the most pro-America first. These guys are they're controlled opposition. So yeah, so there's that. Now I will say this, and people are not going to be happy with me for saying this, but I believe that we should vote for the most conservative. I believe in America First values, Trump's vision, and I believe MAGA is a movement, not necessarily Trump. And it will, whether it's under a different name or not, MAGA will continue to live on. And because I believe in traditional values, because I believe we need to get back to God, obviously, and those things, I'd even vote for Nick Fuentes over a leftist any day of the week. To me, one of the biggest threats to this country right now is secularism, radical secularism. No law, no order in this country, social order. That's why you see the church, young people flocking to the church while there's revival. It's a chaos. So, I don't know. So, anyway. So that's a little bit about that. Canceling Tucker will not work. It will backfire. And Tucker's allowed to interview whoever he wants, and that's his job as a journalist. Now, people are not happy either because, again, they wish he would push back as hard as he did against Ted Cruz. And I understand that. But, I mean, here's the thing. Tucker definitely showed his bias towards Ted Cruz on that one with how he went so hard on Ted Cruz. But I think that's because Ted Cruz is a politician. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say on that. That's a little bit about Tucker. But I honestly think he didn't do fine, and I think this video by Kevin Roberts, which is the president of the Heritage Foundation, which is kind of which is technically what you call more of a traditional Republican. They believe in Christian values. They're kind of popular among mainstream conservatives. But here's what they said about people trying to cancel Tucker, and even what they said about Nick Fuentes. So here it is. Okay, here it is.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days, but today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned.
Right.
My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so, with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington. The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right. I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we disagree with a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate. And we have seen success in this approach as we continue to dismantle the vile ideas of the left. As my friend Vice President Vance said last night, what I am not okay with is any country coming before the interests of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we are American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's where our allegiance lies, and that's where it will stay.
Well, is there anything that was wrong on that statement? I mean, I just don't. I mean, it's really clear. If you disagree with Nick Fuentes, then we challenge it with debate, which we are. Because of X providing free speech, we can say if we disagree or not. We wouldn't be able to do this without Elon Musk's influence on X. And Tucker Carlson, well, he's just as America first as any one of these people that are attacking him. I think he's more America first than the people who are attacking him. And I say that because they're the ones not focused on the issues that matter to voters right now. Now, here's what only criticism I will give of Tucker is, okay, we know your position on foreign policy. You need to start talking about domestic issues because you're that best voice to do that. So I like to see less talk about foreign policy from him, a little break from that, and let's start focusing on domestic because you're the one that I think knows that better than most people, most influencers. So he needs to do that. But yes, I think the people who are attacking him are sowing division because they're distracting us from the things that matter and what will get elected. Here's the thing. Those who think on both sides, those who think Israel, those who try to make Israel the one issue is going to fail. We all know what Americans care about, and that's kitchen table issues. They want the lower cost, lower the cost of living. They want to be able to buy a house, and they want their interests met first, and they want our jobs protected. So if that messaging is not the first messaging, we will lose. Yes, non-intervention foreign policy is important. A lot of blue-collar voters are pretty isolationist, but it's not the issue that will win us elections. So we need to get our focus back to the truth and onto America first policies and stop allowing ourselves to be distracted. So anyway, that's all I have to say, but I thought, Kevin Roberts, again, he was the Heritage Foundation founder, the president. He said it pretty clear there. I mean, what else? How do we argue with that? And there's no reason for any conservative to be against that. And he didn't even say he necessarily agreed with Tucker's takes either. He just said Tucker's a great friend and still part of it. So yes, if he believes that about Tucker, then I believe it too. And I think people should as well. So, and the people who attack him constantly without even providing a logical argument for why he's wrong, it pushes me more towards Tucker by doing that. So, that's all I have to say on that. But dialogue. Dialogue. And here's the thing. Even if Tucker's wrong, he is allowed to be wrong. He's allowed to be wrong. He's human too. Just like anyone we listen to is allowed to be wrong. So it's important as well that you don't, for those who are fans of certain people, don't idolize them and don't think they can't be wrong, because they can. And we should all get a dialogue from everybody. Don't be so narrow-minded that we close voices from other sides either, other people either. So anyway, that's all I have for today. If you like this video, please like, comment if you have anything let me know what you all think of this take. If you like the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. The Red Pilling Channel, out.